So, with all of those scary negative things, well, I've got questions.
Well, I wanted to say that one thing you didn't say about Wikipedia is that it's open source and that you can comment at Wikipedia. You can make a difference in the information that it has. And also that the internet's incredibly male and there's been a lot of pushing women out. And also, back in the 80s when I was at Freedom Common Women's Peace Camp, people said, oh, there's a place in Pine Gap, Australia. It's collecting all the communications all over the world. So, I mean, they have been at it for a long time, too.
Yeah, so the Five Eyes got started in 1948. They've been going hard at it. And the Pine Gap and a place called Waihope in New Zealand and Medwith Hill in the UK. That is called the Echelon system. Those 3 satellites could just pick up all of the world's communications. So yes, they've been doing it through the telephone and the fax. Those ones were picking up in the 80s, but now they're picking up all of our internet data as well. As in everything we buy, everything we look at, everything we say and comment on and send and like.
How many people here have gone to the WILPF entry on Wikipedia? Have you gone to see it? Totally pathetic. I mean, it's a skull.
Really? So, okay, well, so that's a really good thing to come out of this. We should build that up.
Absolutely. Who's that?
Oh, that's my mom. Oh, how did that come out though? Why isn't it up there? Just appeared.
Probably some
your screen.
I miss her at the moment. I just was looking up the Wikipedia, so...
Big Mother is watching you.
Yeah. That's really good. That's really good. Yeah, I haven't looked at the WILPF entry, so let's... Yeah, it's
not going to let you go.
No, I don't know what's that.
I was trying to find a list of the presidents somewhere to check someone's date, and so I went there and there's virtually nothing.
Okay. So I'll pile it into a slide. Okay.
She's back.
She's back. Oh, damn. Sorry, Mom.
Power of the elders.
Yeah, it's not letting you, Robin, I'm sorry. But it's one paragraph. Oh no, it's a little bit more. There's some links, WILPF Today, Peace Women, WILPF in the UN. So yeah, like that really needs urgent attention. Good call. Darren.
What you're talking about is, to my mind, far more serious than what I'm going to mention. But I have seen some recent media on what's called slacktivism, of people who, their version of activism is to like something on Facebook and to sign an electronic petition, and they feel like they have now done their activist thing. And this does have an effect on our ability to organize, but it also probably gives people a sense that, oh, the internet is a great thing that has opened up the world for activism, when the reality is something far more sinister.
Yeah, there's that. There's the way in which people have been told, click everything here and it'll be all right. There's a really good book actually called Click Here to Save Everything. It's a really good book about that. There's also been a book recently written really about the US sort of world called Why the Internet Hasn't Changed Politics Yet. And it's by this guy, Mika Sifri, who's really had a look at US presidential campaigns and different activism. So yes, there is this propensity to, mobilise people, and their entire action is to just click something or to sign a petition. I don't know if that's altogether terrible. If it stops there, yes. If it's just for information and it individualises action, as Edith says, I sit here behind my computer and I used to be talking to people and organising, and now I'm reading all this great analysis, and I feel like there's a community out there who's read it and who's created it, but we're isolated. So that's true. I heard a good analysis the other day at a conference where someone said, yes, we can talk about activism, this sort of like and adding our names to things as being meaningless, but actually they also can have a very material impact. If you do something and you get a lot of support, you think you're inspired to keep going and to go out there and to do activism. If you post a photo of an action and a lot of people like it, that actually does have an effect on your in the world activism. We recognise the negative impact of name calling and of racism and sexism as having a kind of a micro kind of sandpapering effect on ourselves, why wouldn't we also recognise the potential sort of support and encouragement that we get from some of these things? So I'm encouraged to not write it off completely as slacktivism or clicktivism. If it's a component of our campaigning, if you've learned something online by reading one of those alerts, then it's not the end of the world to learn more. It depends what you're encouraged to do with it, I guess. So yes and no.
So how much do you think our emails are monitored? I mean, we're all activists. Do they bother with us or only when they...
Yes.
So...
Anyone in a peace or justice or economic justice or human rights, yes, sir.
I mean, they've already got our emails, right? They can read all of our content, not just the subject line. Is that true?
They can, I mean, all the content, yeah, it's not just the metadata.
All right.
They have everything.
When you say they, who do you mean they?
I'm talking about the Five Eyes, the NSA, the governments of those 5 nations. So in this country, it's the NSA.
But
they share it with all of the Five Eyes.
But I mean, do they really bother? I mean, let's put it this way. They got a lot of things to track. I mean, do they just collect our stuff, and then if they find out that some of us become more visible or leaders than others, then they can go back and review it? Is that how it works? Is that how it works?
Yeah, and they do word searches and.
But they don't do it every day, do they? Do you think?
Excuse me, it depends what you've been up to.
Well, all right.
What kind of list you're on.
And certain words trigger attention, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pieces. So yeah.
Can you just repeat the 5 countries that were on that slide, or go back to that
sure.
slide?
So
Because I couldn't get them down fast
It's
enough.
the
I knew the US was
The
there.
US, UK, Australia, New Zealand,
New
and
Zealand,
Canada.
don't say New
Oh, New
Zealand.
Zealand.
Yeah.
Do not say New Zealand.
The Anglo-speaking nations of the world are together.
White, Anglo, monsters. Yeah, it's the Anglosphere.
The Anglosphere.
Yeah, the Anglo-eyes. Right.
There's a great report about this, and it's called Eyes Wide Open. And it's by Privacy International. And this guy called Eric King has done a really good history and what we know currently about the Five Eyes. And Snowden has expanded that enormously. It's very secret.
It's interesting, it's all English-speaking countries.
Yeah, exactly. Virginia.
Well, there are other countries too, there are other networks.
There's 14 eyes and there's 9 eyes, like there's other configurations. But these are really the super surveillance state.
Yeah.
This is like militaries and criminal law enforcement and the state apparatus really kind of surveilling us all the time, just in case we're criminals in the future. This is kind of retroactive policing, and it really reverses the burden of innocent before proven guilty. You know, so just in case you're a criminal later on, I'm going to take everything that you have. It's completely against international law. I'm sorry, Regina, and then you, Heather.
Just quickly, besides this, we are surveyed in many ways by cameras everywhere. In the apartment, suddenly I'm carrying something heavy and the door goes up because somebody in maintenance saw I was coming with a package. It really gives you a weird feeling. And then the buses have cameras on the streets, in the parks, in the greenways, or the places where you walk. There are cameras everywhere. And then if you're carrying your iPhone, they know where you are.
Yeah.
Where do you
So
live?
our phones are kind of just the things that incidentally make telephone calls. They're incredible surveillance machines. The geo navigation on them, yeah, tells them everywhere we are. So if you want to have a private conversation, you need to, like with your iPhone, put it in a freezer, according to Snowden. Put it in the freezer. With your Android, you have to take the battery out. You have to take the battery out for it to not be a two-way microphone.
So you put it in the freezer while you're having the private conversation?
Yes.
So put your head in the freezer?
Yeah, not with the head.
I recently read that Wikipedia gets corrected every 7 minutes, so that the truth is there after every 7 minutes. What's your comment on that?
One of my colleagues used to work for Wikipedia in the early days, and I met a woman who was just 7 years and just finishing up being the leader of Wikipedia. It's funded by people. It's not, it doesn't accept any government or any corporate sponsorship. So their ability to correct things, you know, is determined by their funding and their staffing levels. It's not like a Big Brother thing, but they are doing kind of quality control, because, you know, a lot of people can go wild on Wikipedia and change, you know, things to be quite untrue. And so they do have a quality control kind of attempt, but there's like, how many web pages are there in Wikipedia? It's incredibly enormous. So they state in the sort of final printing, we can't actually verify this. This is a crowdsourced, you know, this isn't the truth. This isn't verified by anybody. This is a collective project. And so there's not any truth there. In a way, they're kind of giving up the concept of truth by saying we all contribute to that.
Do you consider it westernized as well?
Well, yes, those images that I showed you are from Wikipedia itself. So that's an analysis of Wikipedia. So this one, this is what Wikipedia articles are about. That's not the web in general, that's Wikipedia. So you can see that it's quite imbalanced. So that's the content, and this is who's contributing. A lot of the people are from the global north. So even Wikipedia, one of the best examples of what the internet can do in terms of information sharing and collaborative work, is imbalanced. Yeah, and it's in a lot more languages than English. So they've made a good faith attempt.
In the US? That's so strange. The way up there at the top is the
Greenland. It's a small population, but they're really online a lot. I guess it's.
Yeah, what else are they going to do?
Yeah, sorry about this.
I think that the other issue that we need to recall and remember, Snowden was working for a private corporation, and so it is the privatization of security which even makes it more dangerous.
That's a very good point. I wish I'd said that.
Yes.
But you know, like a vast majority of the people who are working under the NSA are private outsourced folks, and so you know, Snowden was inside the CIA for a while when he was in Geneva at the US mission up there. Then he deliberately got a job with Bruce Hamilton Allen because he had more access and he collected a mighty trove.
And they
And
have
he's changed
innocent
the world.
names, these companies, and some of them were
Yeah.
very
What
innocent
is
names.
Bruce anyway?
He's changed what?
He's changed the world. That man's changed the geopolitical reality of the world. He's changed our relationship to technology. Even though he did sort of explaining a lot of things that were already happening in the world, I think that the confirmation of them. A lot of people just thought people like Julian and others were just conspiracy theorists, and you know now we know that he's not. Some conspiracies are not theories.
No, I went through it.
I mean, okay, because I'm in the dark, I don't understand. Your organization, you started a new organization?
No, I've joined a 20-year-old.
You've joined an organization. All right, so I want to know a little more about the organization and what you're going to be doing. And then you're going to be in New York. Are you going to relate to WILPF at all? Because this is an area WILPF is already very interested in, but you're taking it further, and they're ready to go far.
Good questions. Yeah. So I've been talking with the Rich and Critical Will folks about my company supporting them to do a track of work on this, and we're at the moment working out what that could look like.
That'd be great.
Pardon?
That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be good, but it depends, you know, so that's something that they're going to take to the board and
It's
to
too
flesh out.
bad Beatrice is gone, because this is.
I think it's great Beatrice. Anyway, someone will be Beatrice. This is an area of work that I think WILPF could make a really big contribution to. It's an emerging area of really scary militarism that WILPF is very traditionally on the edge of understanding and alerting and saying no bloody way. And this is a time when leadership is needed from organisations with a peace, not a fascination with technology and a geeky kind of weirdness, because that's my current people and they're weird. I need some friends. So I'm really hoping that that sort of work can get a bit started and we can start to craft what that agenda looks like for WILPF. What you said about the field of technology being very male-dominated is completely right. The head of the Office of the Technical Director of ThoughtWorks is this amazing feminist woman who's been debunking those myths that women aren't good at technology. and encouraging women. We've got there's something like, it's like 12% of women women represent 12% in current tech breakdowns of personnel around the world, and ThoughtWorks has 35% women working as techies and developers. So we're making a big sort of attempt to employ more women techies and developers to make software. It's a software company that has a strong social justice track. So we're doing all kinds of work. We just helped out the campaign against radioactive waste in Australia, which won. Fantastic, 8-year campaign. So there's a lot of people in the organisation who are interested in doing volunteer support work. And another thing I'd like them to do is to help WILPF's website and online presence in the build-up to the history, to the anniversary, to make some kind of amazing multimedia portal of resources that are out there to sort of get them all together so that we can celebrate our history. So that's something that the company can do. So it's 3,000 people, 20 countries, 20 years old company. So I'm working for the first time in my life in the private sector for a guy who was in the Black Panthers. So it's kind of a weird company. I wouldn't just join any company, but it's a very positive. Yeah, ThoughtWorks. It was the company Aaron Schwartz was working for when he died.
Oh.
Question.
The structure of the company.
Thought, thinking, working, thinking, ThoughtWorks. Yeah.
So what kind of a,
And to answer your question, Carol, about what I'll be doing, a lot of things I'll be doing are behind the scenes, enabling and supporting campaigns, things that like the company might get shot down for doing if we did it up front. So, for example, turn off the camera.